What is the first Kirby game you think of when I say Kirby games on the N64? Kirby 64 is rather a weird entry in the series, beginning development in September of 1997, shortly before Dreamland 3 released. HAL wanted to make a 3D Kirby game since 3D graphics were beginning to popularize, but they wanted to keep the tradition of making a 2D side-scroller just like games before it. You got 3D graphics, but can only move left and right like a 2D platformer, so that makes it 2.5D. While the game was in development, there is an option to play as any character you want from Kirby, Waddle Dee, Adeline, and King Dedede. But sadly, this was scrapped in the final version. The game released in March 24th in Japan and in late June in America and Europe. That was the same year the PS2 released. It was already out and brand new in Japan, so you'd imagine it'd sell well, right? Well, it was decent at least, with 1.77 million units sold worldwide. Not bad for one of the lesser iconic Nintendo franchises at the time. It was pretty well praised at the time, for being a fun game to pick up and play for some time, but nowhere near as long and enjoyable as other games that were new at the time, like Donkey Kong 64. So let's see how well this game holds up 25 years later. I've never really seen this as one of the best Kirby games, and especially not as one of the best games for the N64. But it's still fun and worth your time, and it's definitely one of the most unique games in the Kirby series. As for my history with the game, I first played this game in Kirby's Dream Collection for the Wii, something I briefly talked about in my last video. I liked it as a kid, and thought it and Dreamland 3 were pretty weird but enjoyable games in the series. I didn't play Kirby 64 again until years later when it came to Switch Online, which was just a few years ago, and then played it again once I got an original copy in 2023. Both of those times I thought the game was good, but not great. But it's been nearly 2 years since I last played it, so surely I'd feel different about it, right? Well, let's start the game and find out. The intro cutscene shows us a planet called Ripple Star, where its inhabitants are fairies. But then everything gets consumed by darkness literally out of nowhere. The Fairy Queen orders Ribbon to take the crystal away from the planet since that's what the darkness was after. And we see that dark matter returns, and is after the crystal. But unfortunately luck wasn't on Ribbon's side, cause they shattered the crystal in an instant, with the shards falling everywhere in the galaxy. Ribbon falls on planet Popstar, which is where Kirby and his pals live. She lands right on Kirby, and was disappointed to see that only a single remain of the crystal was left. But Kirby immediately finds another piece of the crystal, and offers to help her find the rest. And the adventure begins. As for what the darkness that invaded Ripple Star is, it's dark matter. Again. But this time there's multiple, which is why Ripple Star fell victim that quickly in the first place. In Dreamland 2, dark matter destroyed the rainbow bridges connecting the rainbow islands, but Kirby collected the 7 rainbow drops which forged into the rainbow sword that was used to destroy dark matter. In Dreamland 3, it was unclear whether or not dark matter survived the events from Dreamland 2, or if this one was a different dark matter, but regardless, it was pretty successful in invading Dreamland, possessing many of its inhabitants. But Kirby was able to get rid of the darkness by the Love Stick, which was created by the influence of helping people, and after he beat dark matter, it was revealed that it was a totally different dark matter, and not the same one from Dreamland 2. Zero is the one who creates dark matter, while also having many powers of its own, but Kirby was able to defeat Zero once and for all. Kirby literally beat dark matter with the power of rainbows and friendship in the previous games, meaning that the main weakness for dark matter is positivity. But Kirby destroyed dark matter and Zero. Why is there even more dark matter in the first place? Could Zero have possibly survived? Who knows? The reason why they attacked Ripple Star was because it held another one of their weaknesses, and that was the power of the crystal, and they succeeded by perfectly destroying it. But the shards can be pieced back together if they get close to each other. When Kirby and Ribbon got 2 shards, they forged it into one, showing that there is indeed a way for it to be repaired. But there's a whole lot more to find. So Kirby and Ribbon venture off to find them. A Waddle Dee ends up finding one, but dark matter was right there watching him, until it possessed him. And for some reason, Waddle Dee turns into a Waddle Doo when it happened. But Kirby beat him and dark matter vanished away. And Waddle Dee decides to join Kirby and Ribbon. On a side note, it's been theorized that this is Bandana D before he became the GOAT we all know and love. Adeline from Dreamland 3 is back, and gets possessed again after finding a crystal shard, and attacks just like how she did in Dreamland 3. But after that's done, she also joins Kirby's crew. And of course, the one and only King Dedede. King Dedede also finds a crystal shard, right before Kirby can grab it. He makes sure Kirby can't get it until, you guessed it, dark matter possesses him, with the exact same attacks from Dreamland 3. And after he's defeated, Kirby and his crew venture onward. And since King Dedede has a strong grudge against Kirby, he really doesn't want to join him. But he knows it'd be better if he did. So he also joins the crew. And the 5 of them travel through Popstar, as well as other planets in the galaxy to find the crystal shards. So yeah, it's a pretty dang good story. Especially as a sequel to Dreamland 3. So things are starting to look good so far. So let's move on to the gameplay and see how that is. This game is what you'd expect from a Kirby game, in terms of controls. But now Kirby can mix abilities, the game's main gimmick. All the abilities from Dreamland 2 are back, but now Bomb returns from Superstar. And now you can mix them and literally get a combination of 2 abilities together. This is where Kirby 64 shines the most. Mixing different abilities to see what it gives you is really fun. At the time, Kirby Superstar was the only Kirby game to have a moveset that was like fighting game commands, where you have many different moves with the abilities depending on what you input on your controller. But mixing abilities is still very fun. You got Bomb plus Fire, which literally turns Kirby into a firework. Spark plus Rock, which lets Kirby shoot out a boulder that moves around Kirby thanks to a rubber band like laser controlling the rock. Cutter plus Needle that... oh yeah, some of these are very goofy and just unsettling for some reason. Like some of these are just peak comedy. So yeah, mixing abilities is really fun. Mostly just to see what you'll get out of it. Things are looking great, but what about everything else? Kirby overall just feels very slow in the game, which can make playing the game feel like a drag sometimes. Sure, the levels are designed around this, but it still isn't really that fun to play because of this. Especially underwater. If you thought water levels were bad in other games, then say hello to Kirby 64, where it makes sure you don't have fun at all. Speaking of the level design, it does a job for what Kirby games do. However, I don't hear people talk about how Kirby can carry an enemy above his head after inhaling them, and being able to use some enemies' abilities. And in some levels, members of the crew will help you. Waddle Dee usually just tells you, hey, check this out, or you're in a reaction-based platforming section with him. Adeline appears in some levels giving Kirby items like a 1-up or health, and other times she provides a puzzle for Kirby to get a crystal shard. More about those later. And with King Dedede, you actually get to play as him in some areas. Kirby gets on his shoulders, and you can swing Dedede's hammer to get rid of obstacles and enemies. But that's all you have. A swing and a chargeable swing. That's it. As for collectibles, you got stars that come back from the other games, but now you need a lot to get a 1-up. The main collectible is of course the crystal shards. Each level has 3 of these things. Some are very easy to get while others require you to have a specific ability to get them. Yeah, I sure missed that. Thankfully my memory is better than the average hard drive, so I was able to remember exactly which ability to use when I saw them. Just like the previous 2 games in the Dark Matter trilogy, you need these collectibles to unlock the true final boss. As for the visuals, dang, this game looks pretty good for the N64. There's so many colors and the models actually look really good for the hardware. The N64 is notorious for having low poly models, but here, Kirby is actually a perfect circle. He looks so good compared to how he looked in Smash 64. This was only a 1-year difference. Sure, the enemies don't look that impressive, like, come on, what is this? But the main characters look fantastic. As for the frame rate, it's a solid, stable 30 FPS. The cutscenes even run at 60 FPS. Well, try to. Look, on emulation, like on Virtual Console or Switch Online, it runs at a solid 60 FPS. But on original hardware, you ain't getting that at all. As for the bosses, they're all pretty simple but also pretty fun. Wispy Woods and Hollow Defense play around with the camera, being able to run around in a circle, while the other bosses have their own little uniqueness to them. And all the bosses hold a crystal shard, and once you get it, you get to travel to the next world. And before we end the game, there's one last topic I gotta go over, and that's of course, the music. Why is it so good? Dude, this soundtrack is phenomenal. But now, it's time to finally close the music and finally beat this game. We finally made it to the tower where the full crystal was held at the top. This level is basically just an enemy gauntlet, and once you get to the top, you've made it to the core where dark matter is held. And we fight Miracle Matter, who is protecting the last crystal shard. Miracle Matter is by far the most unique boss in the game. You can't damage him unless you inhale the attack he uses while he's still in that form. So if he's in the bomb form, you can only attack him with the bomb bubbles, by inhaling them and spitting them back at him. He has moves based off of the abilities that Kirby has, just gotta make sure you damage him before he changes the form. It's a really cool boss, but nothing that hard. Once we defeat it, it goes to space and explodes. And it shines a beam at the Fairy Queen, which is where more dark matter was hiding. And it flees to the middle of the universe. We got all the crystal shards, so we can actually beat the game. It's time to stop it, once and for all, after Kirby calls on a warp star. We platform through this little section here, and King Dedede repels us forward to reach dark matter. So here it is. Zero did in fact survive the events of the last game. Sorta. This is Zero 2. A reincarnation of Zero from Dreamland 3. It's no longer focused on destroying Ripple Star, but now it's focused on destroying Ribbon and Kirby. This boss fight is pretty easy. He shoots little projectiles that explode, and you have to shoot its eye that bleeds on impact. No wonder Dream Collection said this on the back. You shoot its eye, and once you do that enough times, you have the option to shoot its wings, but you don't have to. I wanted to though, since I usually never do. Then you shoot the hollow that's on his head, and then you move on to this green thing. That's actually how you damage it. Do all that, and it's defeated. And dark matter is no more. Almost entirely. And thus, Ripple Star is saved, and the Queen gives the hero special medals. And that's Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards. 25 years later, Kirby 64 is still fun to play, but can feel really rough around the edges. If the game was just a little faster, I wouldn't have this issue. But because of how slow it feels, I have to give this game a 7.5 out of 10. Good, but not great. And with that, I have talked about everything I wanted to with this game. Thanks for watching.